Football Show. I am here with a special guest and with my partner in crime. You all know him. His name is Fallen. He's the guy helping me out with all this good stuff, all this fantasy stuff. Our special guest, go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks.
Oh, is that me? Oh yeah. What's up? It's a natural.
Yeah, that's you. You're the special guest. Natural's gonna be our special guest today. Fallen's a normal guest. He's my co-host, pretty much. So,
I'm so
any
used to not being special.
well, you're the special guest right now, so you know, bask in it that you're special right now.
I
So we're gonna
think I
talk.
think Fall I think Fall's the special one because he has a PS5.
Yeah, that is
I
true.
do.
Fallen does have the PS5, so he might be special in both of us right now. Well, you got a PS5 too. You want to talk a little bit about that?
It's still in the box. I don't know if I really own it.
It doesn't. It's not yours until you plug it in.
It belongs to whoever's going to pay me the most money for it.
Well,
Oh,
there you go.
so you're cashing in on the whole situation that's going on right now.
I might, my son is like, he's like, oh, daddy, I want to play Spider-Man. I'm like, son, someone's gonna pay me like $1,400 because no one's playing Spider-Man.
Yeah. You can't have it. Daddy's trying to cash in right now.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's good. My daughter loves it.
Does
It's a
she
little
love it
bit-
more than $1,000 cash?
No.
Oh. All right, so let's dive into PML fantasy stuff. So Natural's actually on the show. Every week we're gonna bring in a special guest. It's usually gonna be whoever has the most points. And come to find out, about 10 minutes
It's up in the air.
yeah,
It's up in the air right now, right?
come to find out,
It's
10
like-
minutes
it's-
ago, it is now up in the air. We thought Natural was gonna take it. He had one guy left, and he had the second most points by like .5, and Drama had the lead, and he had all his players play. So we thought Natural was gonna be the guy. Come to find out, it's up in the air now because Q had a few players that weren't entered yet that earned him about 40. What was it? Fallen. How many points? It was like 38 and 11.
Yeah, he had Bateman, the Patriots defense, and Matt Breida, who got him 19, 18, and it's like 30,
34.
Yeah.
34. And actually
so-
looking at over, Nefarious potentially could end up edging Q out. Nefarious still has 2 players left on the line.
Yeah, but I don't qualify. Just like when we do our waivers and
Right,
everything
right.
like that.
I'm
Me
not
and you
gonna
don't
say
qualify for any of that.
Right.
Yeah, so once again, just like this is not the first time we've done fantasy. We did it last cycle in a different way, not as like this, but every week we would submit our rosters for different players, whatever. And all the time, I would win a lot. Now, you guys would win a lot too. You guys did a great job, but I would win a lot. And the times that I wouldn't win would be times that I beat myself, whether one of my players went off for someone else. And this is another case of my defense pretty much putting Q over the top for the win, probably.
Yeah, because the main rule about PMO fantasy, even last year and this year, is you cannot draft your own player. So you being one of the top users, if not the top user in the league, really hinders your fantasy. I think the league is better than just the pick'ems because I guess with the league there's more variation and less people just grabbing all your players and put them in a pick'em. Your players are spread out, so it's not as bad if that makes sense. I think the league is much
I
better.
totally agree. I feel like a lot of times there's a lot of copycat. Like once we got to like week 6, we knew who to plug in every single week.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the league. I don't know about you, Fallen. I know Natural agrees, but how do you feel about the league compared to the pick'ems that we did last season? I mean, last
No, I
time.
think it's a lot better. I think it provides us with more diversity, especially with injuries, and just look at what we saw last night with the disconnections and the recreates. Now we have a plan in place for that. So, I think it allows everyone to do something different, and we won't be seeing the same lineup by 2, 3, 4 people because, hey, this person had a big game last week. I think really we only saw different lineups when there would be other people having bye weeks. So I think this is a lot better, and I think it's gonna. I don't think the same person is gonna win every week. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm definitely gonna love it when we expand to more teams, because more teams, more spread out talent, and it's gonna a lot more variation. You got to be smarter about your matchups.
Yeah, so next season, I'm planning on moving up to 14 teams. So, based on who we have in the waiting list, so we have 10 right now. We have 4 in the waiting list. Instead of only picking 2 of them and moving to 12, I think this whole system, the way that me and Fallen have it set up, it's pretty damn easy. You just plug in numbers that you see, and then the sheet does all the math for you. You don't have to do any math. You don't have to do anything special. You just got to look at the stats, plug them in, and pretty much that's it. Um, maybe next season, if you're not busy, Nat, that's something you could help us with and make it run even smoother, and then you could be on every PML show,
Probably,
PML
probably
fantasy
not.
show. Probably not.
Probably. I'm more of an idea man.
You're more of an idea, man.
I mean, where did the idea for this sheet come from? With the teams already in and matchups like this, that
The
didn't come out of nowhere, right?
the lineup sheet, having it all in one, you sparked that idea. That's for sure.
I
Um,
sparked.
you sparked it.
That's one way to put it, I guess.
Yeah, you told me I should put it in different sheets and all that, and I was making it more difficult on myself. But when it came to the whole having it set up so the points are automatically
Yeah, that was
added
dope.
up,
That was dope.
that was something I
Yeah,
found online, which was
yeah,
pretty awesome. The only thing we
yeah.
don't
That,
have.
that was cool. That was cool, and the fact that you had the drop downs and you can select your set up that way. That was a really nice setup that you did.
Yeah, that's a few things I picked up in other leagues, not Madden leagues, but like computer leagues and shit like that. Um, but let's
Hockey
jump.
leagues.
Yeah, yeah. Let's jump into some fantasy talk. So we're gonna go through our matchups right now. We're not completely done, but we're almost done. We got a few players yet to play. It looks like Drama Man's gonna start off the season 1-0. He's gonna beat Geeked. I think he's gonna edge him out. The only thing I see with Geeked that he kind of got screwed with is he had the Bears defense, and as you both know, they had to replay that game a couple of times. So it looks like that Packers defense is not going to do much for him, and it looks like Drama Man's going to take the win there. How do you feel about that disconnect and the whole situation with that?
I, it's Madden, so we can't really help it. It sounds like um, both of the guys had decent connections, so it was kind of a Madden thing. And actually, I know the patch, I believe, that was put out today, the update, was for the disconnections that were occurring, from what I read. So hopefully that helps. But it's tough. But like I said, I think we have a good plan in place, and we gave everybody kind of ample time to kind of pick something different, for when that does happen. And you never know. He's only down by 21 points. Packers defense could score a couple touchdowns.
Going up against the Lions, I don't see that happening.
Right now it's 28-7.
Okay.
Lions.
So
In
they
the
are
first
playing right
quarter.
now.
In the first quarter, it's 28-7.
Oh jeez.
So I'm hoping that the Lions kicker, fumble hit by the Lions defense. So hopefully we get a few. We need 14 PATs.
You should DM Cookie right now and tell him to nail it and kick the field goal. And
Oh
don't.
no, I'm way ahead of you.
All right, we're gonna head and move on to your game actually, and it looks like you're gonna win this one too, outright. You might not get the most points this week, but it looks like you're definitely gonna start off the week 1-0. He's got Kenny Galladay going. I don't know how he's doing so far in that game. It looks like the offense is moving for the Lions, or I don't know if he's got some defensive scores. But it looks like you're gonna get this one pretty easy. You're still up by 37 points. No, 38 points. So it doesn't look like FK is gonna make a comeback on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I like my team. I mean, the biggest thing that hurt me this week was when Kittle went out injured. I was expecting some big points from you. When I played you in preseason, he was a main target. He was pretty dangerous out there, and I knew he'd get use out of him. But I think he's out what 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
I think it's 6, which is tough.
Wow.
I lost Monster, I lost him, and I lost Kinlaw. So the 49ers
So
are
just
hurting.
like well, it was the same way last year. With the last user, the same way. I don't know if you got little injuries or it's like a bug they got in the game where EA makes them get injured on purpose or something.
I don't know, but
But
I need it
it was
fixed.
it was the same thing with the last user. He had like 5, 6 guys injured during the
Jeez.
year. But so Tyreek Hill underperformed. Was expecting to get more out of him. Um, and Jaguars, they definitely went to more of a running attack with their rookie running back, and DJ Shark did not get the targets that I thought. 5 for 103 is not bad. I'm not saying I'm not complaining about it, but
He didn't
he
get
got a
him to
lot more
score.
targets. Yeah, he got a lot more targets last year, but I think once because he's playing Mike, a good user, he was being more conservative, keep on the ground. I think once he plays other games, he'll open up a little bit more, and Shark will get more targets. My sleeper, Rico Gafford, did his thing. 20 points is kind of what I was looking for with him. But the Buccaneers defense was a big letdown. I knew it would be a tough one this week because I noticed how good the Saints are. So I knew I wouldn't get a ton of points for him. But for the person who had the number one takeovers last year, I was surprised to get only 1 point from that.
Yeah, big and based on your lineup, a big steal for you was C.J. Verdell, who absolutely went off in the Pittsburgh and Cleveland game and got you 40,
Well,
41 points.
yeah, if you saw him in the preseason, you already know he was going to milk this guy all the way, and especially the way this year, which kind of annoyed me last night, that running backs just don't get injured in the game this year. So I knew he'd be able to get a ton of carries and not get tired, um, and then he would put up a bunch of points. So I know he's trying to get him superstar. So I know he's gonna ride him out all season.
Well, I know it was a sim, but that whole running back's not getting hurt doesn't really apply to me here. So, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
a couple big games from Lamar Jackson and C.J. Verdell really carried your lineup, especially with Tyreek Hill, like you mentioned, underperforming and George Kittle going down, and even Josh Jacobs, somebody that you thought would be able to get some yardage, only 6 points in this game.
Yeah, that's another one. I was clearly surprised at Josh Jacobs. He was out several games last year, still was one of the top running backs in with touchdowns. So I think Cammy said he'll do a little bit better this week. But I knew Lamar Jackson. That's why I took Lamar Jackson my first pick. He's gonna put up big numbers each week on the air and through the ground.
Yeah, he had a hell of a week. Let's jump into me and Fallen actually playing each other. So far, it looks like I got the lead right now by 26, and it doesn't look like you're gonna catch me because I got 2 players left to go. One being T.J. Hawkinson, who's actually playing right now, and then you have Aaron Jones, and it doesn't look like he's getting much in this Lions Packers game that's going on right now.
Yeah, and I was hoping for a little more from Aaron Jones. Hopefully, with the Packers being down, he kind of gets them involved in the passing game. I'm not watching the game at the moment, but I think it's kind of a stretch. I think you got a pretty good lead. I think most of your players actually had over 20 points. Yeah, at least 5 had over 20 points, which kind of boosted your score there. Whereas mine, I think I only had 1 or 2 that had over 20.
Yeah, you got a really good week from Miles Sanders, and that was the big guy. I didn't really have one of those guys. I had a bunch of guys play really well, and nobody was like crazy outstanding like Lamar or like Miles Sanders or C.J. Verdell. But I had a lot of guys earn 20 plus points like you mentioned, and that's pretty much how I'm edging you out right now is just the balance throughout the lineup. So we're gonna jump into Q, who is right now the leader in fantasy points with 158.74. Like I said, it just happened about 15 minutes ago. So he's our leader right now, and then we got Burn, who's got 91.3. So a really subpar type of week, but he did have Jonathan Taylor, who had 42 points. Oh my!
Yeah, and
Can you hear
Taylor
music right now?
No.
All right, good. All right, yeah. Let's talk about Hugh and Byrne, especially. Let's focus on Byrne a little bit with his lackluster week.
Yeah, well, Burns still has Stafford playing. So you can
And the Lions kicking another field goal in a second.
Yeah, Burns still has Stafford playing. I think his biggest letdown right now is Natural's tight end. Ossie had nothing.
So that's Ossie didn't register a single point, huh?
But I don't know. I just feel like I'm like the anti Colts. Like I play for wins, not for stats. So it's always gonna be. I'm probably the worst person to like choose for fantasy.
Yeah, because like you were saying, you spread the ball around. You never know who's going to be the key focus point of your offense that week.
Yeah, and a lot of people talking about my receiver Bird last year, because literally look on my roster, I had no weapons, and if you look at that game, Bird was my second receiver. I mean, I had other people who had more yards than him because I actually have my rookie receiver. I have other weapons around last season. I had like an 80 speed receiver and 60 overall tight ends. So now that I have more weapons, I'll definitely be, of course, spreading the ball more around.
Yeah, which is good for your overall offense, not good for us fantasy players that are looking for.
Exactly.
Hopefully that doesn't apply to Philip Lindsay for me all season. I mean, he had a good week one.
Hey, as soon as if I get Lindsay superstar, he might not ever get the ball again.
So we take a look at Q's offense. He's got Matt Breida, who went off, and Javion Hawkins. Hawkins is actually your guy falling. So he got a good week from Hawkins, and that's the one guy that you mentioned when he was picked is a pretty good sleeper. I think both your two of your running backs were drafted.
Yeah, so actually, Gainwell, I drafted first. He had a first-round grade on him, but he wasn't as quick as Hawkins, and but I didn't want to reach on Hawkins because I wasn't exactly sure what his speed was going to be, because that 10% threshold. So I was able to pick him up in the later round. So, but just test him out in the preseason, Hawkins is definitely a lot quicker. We kind of saw that in this game. Although I used both running backs, but I think both running backs actually got picked up in our draft. Gainesville first by FKMJP, which I noticed he didn't start him, and then Hawkins. So keep an eye on Hawkins this season. I think he's going to have a real positive season.
I mean,
a lot better than
Johnson
did last season.
Yeah, he definitely started off with a big bang. Just so we're gonna move on to LQ Noble and Molly Rojo. Both real low scoring games. I mean, if they went up against anybody else, they'd probably be losing right now. I think the only other person that had this low of a score, who was it? Was it Byrne? Yeah, 91. Even Byrne, both of them would be losing to Byrne right now. Even though Molly's got a couple of guys that still have yet to go. Daz Newsome already went, and he apparently got no targets. And you mentioned that immediately, Nat, when he drafted him, that he messed up because he's not that guy out of the rookie wide receivers. I actually looked, and Trey Nixon is the only one that really got targets out of those speedsters.
Yeah, if you look, and I'm sure Mally probably could. If you looked at my depth chart, you would see that he was the fourth receiver there.
Mm-hmm.
So he was never been the top guy. I mean, even look at his stats, right? I'm not gonna put a receiver out there with 7 catch. So he's probably gonna be my next season guy. Just kind of dev in the background, sit on the bench as he improves, and then when I got Conley to kind of be the guy this year. And then next year he'll be replaced.
Now, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but I don't know if he played yet or he just didn't see any targets as well. You had control of this game and keeping track of the stats, falling. Yes. So what happened with him?
He's on the Lions.
He's on the line, so he's playing right now. So hopefully he gets him some points there.
I imagine he will, yeah.
Right now it looks like Cook's running back's getting a lot of work. He's not really throwing the ball much as usual.
Yeah, and he's up big, right?
He's gashing on the ground. No, he's come back. It's 31-21 now.
Oh, wow. Oh, he's come back.
As I said that, St. Brown got a big 30-yard catch. So.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
and,
just as you said.
LQ actually has DeAndre Swift, so.
Yeah, Swift's still to go, and you could expect big points from him. And Brandon Cooks has already played, correct? Yeah, he's on your. Oh wait, he got points. Hayden Hurst is the guy that doesn't have points yet.
And Jalen Guyton, both of those guys didn't have any points for LQ.
And those two, their games are already played. Hayden Hurst and Jalen Guyton.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's tough.
Do you kind of feel that anyone, or you personally, would you let fantasy affect your actual gameplay in the league?
No.
Like if me and you were head to head, and let's say you were winning, would you avoid throwing it to one person or one guy, or oh my God, Taysom Hill just trucks the people, or would you, like last night I saw that he had Cam Newton starting, and I'm going versus that person. Like, would you maybe hand the ball a little bit more to finish that game auto, not try to put up those gaudy numbers if it caused you to lose in fantasy?
Yeah, and me and Nefarious talked about that, the fact that you had Cam Newton. I know you were playing, and he kind of had Cam Newton to start. But, I mean, even so, you still scored 22 points with Newton. But to your point, if the game is in hand, then I may lean towards running the ball a little more, or, vice versa, maybe using a backup. But I think you got to at least go for the win, in PML.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. No, I know no one would do it to lose, but I mean, like, if you had a game, like, for instance, like last night, my game, I knew this game, that game was in hand. I mean, I wasn't going to lose my fantasy game. There's no way. Because I was up by, 40 points, something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was like, if I'm up by 5 points and Cam Newton is starting against me, you know what I mean? Like, do you have more of a rushing attack in that case, or do you still go full tilt?
No, that's a good question. It's definitely something to think about. I guess it really would depend. I may try to go into the game thinking, hey, I want to run the ball a little more, just to kind of help myself out in both. But if your opponent can stop the run and ultimately, you're going to need to pass, and I think that's what you lean on. But you may go into the game with some sort of game plan to do the opposite, but it really just kind of depends on how it unfolds.
And like when I talked to Vaughn about this situation, it's not really on the user. So him playing Cam Newton's not on you. Like, it's on him to realize that Cam Newton is the user that you're going up against in fantasy's quarterback, and you want to avoid that, especially if you can. If there's a bye week for the other guy, then I understand it. But if you could avoid it, I would choose to avoid it. Like, I would have started his other quarterback. I gotta see who he has, but I would have took Russell Wilson, even though Russell Wilson didn't have a good week. But I would have took my chances on Russell Wilson, knowing that you were on the other side in fantasy. That's just something I would have paid attention to. I don't know if he noticed that and he was just like, you know what, screw it. Russell Wilson's not gonna have a good week because he's going up against the Texans. Or it was something where he was like Cam Newton. He didn't really think much of it.
I think for me, I'm just gonna not look at fantasy until I'm just playing because I know mentally, even if I don't let it affect me at the back of my mind, it would affect me. So I think I would just set my roster, don't look at the matchup, don't look at who I'm playing, whatever, and just play my game and then look at it after.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It could definitely affect your game plan, and then you make a mistake because you're trying to focus on avoiding a certain guy or something like that, and then there goes the actual PML game, the one that you don't want to lose. When fantasy is, it is what it is. I mean, the content points are nice, but you're not gonna risk a loss on PML record for a fantasy win.
Yeah. And the Lions kick another field goal.
So now that we went through all the games, now I want to jump into some waiver wire stuff. So waivers are almost closed. They close in about 10 minutes. I was hoping to get this out earlier, but we had some technical difficulties, so it happened. So we're trying to get through this. Now we're gonna jump into some waiver wire stuff. So we're gonna do buy or sell free agents. So these are guys that are out there that are possible pickups right now, and I want your opinion on buy or sell, and maybe a quick one sentence answer on why, or a quick answer on why you would sell or you would buy on this player. So you guys ready to play this little game?
Yep.
All right. So the first guy we have here, it's going to be. So the first guy we have is, what's it? How do you pronounce his name? Hold on. So it's Xander Horvath. He's a running back. He plays for the Panthers.
You said Zad who?
Xander Horvath, a running back from the Panthers.
My bad.
I believe a rookie running back for the Panthers seems to be his goal line guy, 6'3", 234. He's not going to get you a lot of yardage, but I think he's going to get you a lot of touchdowns if he gets into the goal line. It wasn't much to choose from running backs, so that's why I included this guy on the list, because it looks like he's going to get goal line touches. How do you feel about Xander?
I would pass on Xander. I actually am looking at it. I think JT only used him for the most part because he was playing a computer. Because if you look at it, Najee Harris is 10 times better. And why wouldn't you use Harris on the goal line if you're looking for someone like that? Because Harris has the bulldozer ability, so he's going to be better in the goal line. So I think Horvath, he just used him because he was going up against the computer. So get touches for all his running backs, make sure no one got hurt, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so Xander's not a guy you would look at. How about you, Nat?
No. I mean, I wouldn't even draft the JT running back. Period.
You wouldn't draft one of the 8 of them that he carries on his team throughout the season?
Yeah, exactly. You never know who's going to be the guy. I mean, C-Mac, yeah, but he got injured last year. Is he injury prone? Who knows? I avoided drafting any Patriots players except for Fields. I know everything. I know he's going to try to get Fields X factor or be a top quarterback. So he's the only guy I rely on. No one in the running backs.
Yeah, so we're gonna sell on Xander. Let's move on to the next one. We got Terrace Marshall Jr., I believe a rookie out of Louisville, plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and pretty much went off against the New Orleans Saints in pretty much the game of the week. He had 136 yards and a touchdown. You buying or selling on Terrace Marshall Jr.?
I think he's a buy right now, especially if you need a wide receiver. I know the Buccaneers offense is loaded, but Marshall has started. He's got 90 speed, but he definitely got targeted the most. So I think he's a guy that the defenses may kind of forget. You're going to watch out for Evans, you're going to watch out for Godwin, you're going to watch out for Gronkowski. So I think that leaves Marshall open, possibly on the deep routes or underneath routes. So I think if you're a team that needs a wide receiver or a wide receiver you had didn't do so hot, he's worth a pickup.
How about you, Nat? You buying or selling on Terrace Marshall?
Yeah, I'm buying a lot better than I bought that Buccaneers defense. Yeah, sure. He seems like a good, solid guy. He's gonna use for the year.
I think I'm gonna sell on him just based on how many weapons he has over there. PML games are only 10 minutes long, and it's tough to feed everybody. I think this was
Wait. What do you mean only 10 minutes long?
10 minute quarters. 10 minute quarters. I apologize. They're an hour long, but they're 10-minute quarters.
No. I know what you meant, but still, that's ridiculous. I don't even know any league with more longer quarters than we have.
Well, if you think about it, the more time, the more stats. Hence, in real life, stats compared to PML stats.
You're right, but you said only like our games are ridiculously long.
Okay. So the way I said it was probably, not the right way, but that's what I meant by it. I mean, you're not getting a lot of opportunities for Terrace Marshall Jr. in that offense.
St. Brown with a 60-yard touchdown pass default.
Oh, geez. So that's big for who had him. Was it LQ Noble who had him?
I think Molly.
Or was it Molly?
against Maui.
Yeah, so that's big for him, and it could help with a comeback. I mean, actually help him seal the deal because he's up in that. So we're gonna go on to the next guy for buy or sell. We're gonna go on to Mark Andrews, the tight end from Baltimore, which surprisingly wasn't picked up by anybody. Now it seems like there's some people that might be interested with some injuries. Wink, wink at tight end. Mark Andrews had 6 catches for 97 yards and a touchdowns in the touchdown and for that Baltimore Ravens offense. How do you guys feel? Buy or sell on Mark Andrews?
I think if you have an injury at tight end, he's a buy. But if you have a tight end on your roster, I think he's a sell. He got a good bit of targets in week 1, but I think Bacon, unless it's a high-scoring game, I don't think Andrews is going to always perform. I mean, last year he only had 700 yards and 6 touchdowns, so I don't know if Bacon is looking at him every single day. But if you definitely need a tight end right now because someone got hurt or underperforming, then he's a buy. But for me personally, I think I'm going to sell.
How about you, Nat?
Yeah,
you're the guy with the injury at tight end. Is this somebody you buy on since you got an injury?
No, I already have a backup tight end, so I'm good. We're gonna ride out with that guy. But if someone is, think there's somebody who totally sucks, like my 4th receiver, yeah, he receives somebody I'll pick up, sure.
Wink, wink at Mally, huh? So you buying or selling on Mark Andrews? You think he's gonna keep this up, or you think this is just flash in the pan that Mark Andrews
No,
is gonna?
I think it's gonna be Marquise Brown, the running game, and then the tight end. Yeah, sure. I think so. I think it's a good pickup.
All right, so we'll move on to the next buy or sell item. We're gonna go on to Michael Gallup from Dallas, who had a pretty solid week. Gallup had a couple of scores, I believe. I'm trying to find him in the stats. So Gallup had 101 yards and 2 scores on 5 receptions, so he had a solid week. I know Amari Cooper was drafted, but Gallup was left off. What do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about Michael Gallup? You buying or selling on him?
Every time you say use, it just brings a smile to my face. I don't hear this so often. When I hear use guys, it just brings me like memories of old Leave the Beaver cartoons or some shit.
Well, it's a Boston thing, I guess. So that's just how we talk over here. So if you're gonna be on the stream with me, you're gonna have to get used to it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like y'all in the South,
Yeah, use guys. Hey, use guys.
Hey, use guys.
So you buying or selling on Michael Gallup?
I'm gonna sell on Michael Gallup. I think he's not really gonna get used too much moving forward. He's on a contract year, and I don't think the Cowboys are gonna have enough money to re-sign him. So I look to see Lamb and Cooper get more targets. I think this offense is loaded. Maybe from Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, and even Blake Jarwin. I think this is kind of a one-hit wonder here this week, and I don't think Gallup's going to find the success every single week.
Yeah, I don't. Even somebody like CEO, I wouldn't even draft any of these guys, just because he's the type of player who he just throws the open guy. He's not like a stat patter like phone. I mean, he's not a stat patter, so he doesn't really like focus on 1 or 2 guys. So he spreads the ball around a lot. So he's somebody I would not even bring up fantasy, draft a fantasy player from. But somebody who's like more like, you get a new rookie, they're gonna feed the hell out that rookie, that new player. Those are the guys you want to target in fantasy. And
speaking of rookies, I'm gonna bring up one that you're probably gonna sell on. We got Trey Nixon from the Patriots, who is a 6'2", 180-pound rookie. I believe this is one of your speedsters that you drafted. He had 2 catches for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns, so he takes both to the house. Fall, I'm gonna I know Natural's probably gonna sell on him, like you mentioned before, because it's his offense, and it's not an offense that you want to focus on when it comes to the passing game because he spreads the ball around. But are you buying or selling on Trey Nixon?
I'm gonna sell on Trey Nixon. I think
Poland is
Natural's
selling
gonna-
on everything. God damn.
Yeah, Natural's gonna.
It's a sale. It's a falling sale. Sell. Everything's going. You get a sell. You get a sell. You get a sell.
I don't think Trey Nixon is going to be the one. Natural's kind of made a point that anybody could get the ball on his offense. So I think I would kind of steer clear of him for now, at least. Maybe going down the season, if kind of Natural favors him, and maybe he wants to get him Rookie of the Year or something like that, then we could see a pickup later. But for now, I think he's a sell.
I'm gonna say this is probably. Can you imagine? Can you remember a more competitive Rookie of the Year campaign in PML history?
No, it's going to be pretty competitive this season with top quarterbacks, and then
the running
even
backs.
looking at week 1, running backs kind of went off. So, and the receivers now, I think it's going to be in both conferences, AFC and the NFC. I think it's going to be tight. I think injuries are going to play a effect, as well as kind of how the seeding is down the road, and if all the rookies play every single game, it'll be interesting to see.
And nobody's gonna be like the GOAT TBJ back in Madden 19.
I think Jonathan Taylor's the new TBJ.
Jonathan
Taylor was great last Madden.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, TBJ with more carries.
Oh yeah, because he could take more of a punishment. I remember you going into playoffs right before playoffs. Like, I'm setting him because I don't know how much longer he's gonna last. So I'm gonna take my licks as they come. So we're gonna go on to the next guy. We got Jerry Jeudy, who had a really good week for the Broncos. He had 121 yards with 6 receptions and a touchdown. Buy or sell? Just a quick one on this one.
I like Jeudy. I think he's a buy. I think the Broncos.
We finally got a buy, folks. We got a buy. We can buy finally. No more selling.
I think FKNJP made a statement. I think he's gonna try to pass the ball this season. Walked through 343 yards, but a couple interceptions. But I think Judy's gonna be the target, and especially once he unlocks Judy's second ability. I think he's going to see even more targets, so Judy's a buy.
Low key, the Broncos have one of the most dangerous passing duo trios in the league. I mean, with those receivers, and then you throw Noah Fant. Yeah, I mean, I have Fant, so that's why I'm kind of not worried about the tight end position. So hopefully, I'll send him a little note saying, don't forget about the tight end and all those good receivers you got over there. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a good strategy to put guys together, right? Let's say I pick up Jeudy and have Fant. One of them are going to have a good day, right?
Yeah, on the keys to victory, it's going to be a lot of tight end play for the Broncos, I assume. Make sure you get the ball to Fant. I think that's going to be your key to your victory right there. Speaking of tight ends, we got Drew Sample, who had a really good week, 4 receptions, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Just quick buy or sell. Don't really need a reason. How do you feel about Drew Sample, buy or sell?
If you're a tight end needy team, I think he's a good look. So because for the sake of a buying, I think he's a buy.
All right. How about you, Nat? Buy or sell on Sample?
I just hate his name, so I'll sell.
Last two, real quick. We're gonna go through for receivers. Deebo Samuel and Tyler Lockett, both in the NFC West. Deebo Samuel had 2 touchdowns. In 64 yards, I believe, and can't find Tyler Lockett, but I know he had a pretty good week. He also had a score. He had 2 scores on 58 yards, so kind of the same player had a couple of scores. Most of the points come from touchdowns. How do you feel about those two, buy or sell?
I like Lockett. I went up against Lockett, and now we target him a good bit, and he got 2 touchdowns. So I think most people are going to try to lock up DK Metcalf, which is exactly what I tried to do in our game, and it's going to leave targets open for Lockett. So Lockett's a buy.
I'm surprised at that because I feel like he's been shopping Lockett all offseason. Because usually I feel like when I see someone shopping somebody, that's a person I don't want to pick up.
Yeah,
So I'm
he
surprised
seems
to
like
see
he's
that
getting
it didn't
phased
work.
out of the offense.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, how does that even work? Like somebody like Keenan Allen, who he's trying to move. Do you pick him up thinking the next coach? If someone's trading for Keenan Allen, they mean they're going to use him.
Yeah.
So do you pick guys up in anticipation of them moving and kind of sit them on the bench until that happens, or do you not take that gamble?
Yeah, I honestly, if I was, I forgot who drafted it. I think it was Geeked. If I was Geeked, I would have kept him and just
The
waited.
Geek dropped him.
Yeah, I would have kept him and just waited and dropped somebody else.
It's a chance that he sits him and he just doesn't trade him, and no one wants to. Everyone knows the trade calculator's fucked. So it might be a case of people want him, but they can't get him.
Yeah, yes, that's true. A couple defenses I want to bring up. Buy or sell on the Texans defense.
For fantasy or for the
For
league?
fantasy, for fantasy.
I'll let you fix my defense.
For fantasy, hey, he put up some good numbers week 1. For the league, hell no, big sell.
Hey, we had a good defense. Good defense this week. So we had a touchdown and like 6 interceptions.
Yeah, you went off against
I think-
Seattle.
Yeah, I think ultimately you're probably going to want to. There's probably going to be a better defense than Titans defense.
Yeah.
But as kind of pointed out last season, my points against wasn't as high as my yards against. So we're kind of looking for points against, and I did have a good bit of turnovers last season. So if that's kind of what you're looking for in your defense, then you might want to look at the Titans defense.
Yeah, traditionally, you've been good. You give up a ton of yards, but you're good in the red zone, so you don't give up a ton of points, and you do force turnovers. So I don't know how that translates to fantasy versus somebody like a Mike who gets a lot of stops but doesn't get a lot of turnovers. I don't know, what's better for fantasy. You guys know better than me.
Yeah, I don't know about if I'm gonna buy on the Texans defense. There's better defenses out there, like you said. The other defense I wanted to mention was the Jaguars defense. You guys buying or are you guys buying or selling?
Well, I'm definitely buying because I already picked them up, right?
Well, the waivers are over and nobody else put in a claim for them. So yes, you do have the Jaguars defense. You buying or selling on that form?
I'm gonna sell for now. I'm interested to see I think Chef Chupa's in a pretty tough division that's gonna put up points. But I thought what he did week 1 was great. Definitely keep it up. But for the entirety of the season and just going off of how we played last season, I'm gonna sell that defense.
Yeah, it's.
I think.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead. I'll go after.
No. You could go because I wasn't really gonna say much.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that that is a good point you make about the division. That's something you have to really factor in. But what he did versus Mike, I was super impressed. Schematically, he looked better. Talent-wise, and I think last season a lot of times he beat himself by like poor adjustments. He had some new, different blitzes I've never seen before him run. So he's definitely put some time in. So if it was just the improvement, talent-wise, I wouldn't have bought. But I seen improvement skill-wise, user-wise. He made some great plays. So he, as a coach, seemed to improve. So that's why I bought on the defense. But he has to go against the league's fastest offense and the league's top running attack. So that's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna start him, every week. It's gonna be alternate. Obviously, I have 2 defenses now, so that gives me some flexibility. But who knows? Maybe I'll leave him on the bench, see how he plays. If he disappoints, I can always drop him and pick up another defense. But definitely, I'll look at the schedule and see what I think advantageous matchups are for that Jaguar defense, because I think it's a chance that they can definitely be in some games where they can dominate.
Yeah, and I think if you don't get the top tier defenses, I honestly, the only one I know of is your defense, Nat, at this point. I know this Madden is not a defense heavy game, but there's probably the only defense you really can rely on that I know of is the Patriots defense. Everybody else that I think of,
it's like Patriots, Dolphins, Lions, and after that, it's like a huge drop off.
Yeah, so everybody else after the Patriots, Dolphins, Lions, it's matchup. You want to play a matchup because you're not gonna have a sure 15 plus points every week or 10 plus points.
Washington did have they had some good defensive stats last year too, but it was kind of lopsided. But you got guys like Goose who's like top 5 in passing and then 32nd in rushing, so it's like it's hard to find a team that was like top 5 in both.
Yeah, so it's definitely tough. I think it's a lot of matchups for most guys that can't get those 3 defenses. So it's smart to be like fallen and carry 2 defenses and just play matchups all throughout the season. I mean, week 1, I think my defense did pretty good. Who had my defense? Was it Geeked? Was it? I'm trying to think of who had my defense. Was it LQ Noble? Yeah, it was Noble.
Oh yeah, I remember that. People were laughing when they took your. I think you were laughing at yourself.
Yeah, I was laughing because I know my defense is definitely far from really good or good enough to be drafted in fantasy. But I gave him 10 points, so I'm proud of that. So I'm happy for him on that. So
did you feel that my defense was overdrafted? Because Q took it in what, like 3rd round, 4th round?
Honestly, I don't think so. I had you in the top 20, to be honest.
That's crazy.
It's just your defense got Q more points than a good bit of players got points.
Yeah, I think your defense could be relied on every week, like I said, and I think that's the only real defense that can be relied on every week to play some shutdown. I mean, even Cookie Boy is giving up a lot of points to the Packers, so it's the only defense for me that I think you could rely on every week.
I guess we'll see.
All right, but that's pretty much going to do it. I got to get lineups in for advance and all that. Anything you want to add before you head out, Nat?
I'm trying to figure out how many field goals did Cookie Boy get right now. I'm trying to turn on my console. I'm trying to see. He scored 51 points, but how many field goals did he kick there, man? I got to check these field goals.
Is the game over?
Oh, he only had 3. Damn.
So the game.
He only had 1 50-yarder.
So the game's over. So he had 1 50-yarder and he had 2.
He had 6 PATs.
All right, we're gonna do a live stat.
Needed 18.
Oh my God!
How many PATs?
He got 6 PATs, 2 field goals.
No, 3 field goals.
Two under 50.
2 field goals that were under 30, and then 1 that was.
Wow! 17 points. So
you know what's fucked up? I told him 17 too. I should have said 18.
So so this is where how it ends. 158.74 to 158.72. You lose by .02.
Hey, Mac, you know what's even worse? Cookie Boy was in the red zone with a minute left and down the game out.
Oh, well, no one's going to kick a field goal.
No, of course not. But
yeah, that would be. I wouldn't ask him to do that. Hey, shout out to Cookie Boy. You know what? I told him 17. He got 17. That's my bad. So I'll take the L. I deserve that L. If I would have said 18, he might have got 18. So shout out to Cookie Boy. I told him for the game. I said, man, I need 17 to win. He got me 17, but that was my bad. So thank you, sir. I appreciate that. But I'll take the L.
Yeah, so that's how it ends. .02 is how it's gonna end this week for Natural. Just missing out on the most points. He's on the stream because Q personally couldn't make it, so that's why we got Nat. Second place isn't bad, but you're starting off 1-0 anyway. It's all about the 20 content points you're gonna get at the end if you win the championship.
All right, we're looking to get there. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you for joining us. You got anything to say, Paul?
No. Awesome week 1, and you guys make sure you get your lineups in. Week 2 starts in just a few minutes, so good luck to everybody, and stay tuned.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Thank you guys for watching. hopefully, fantasy keeps gaining steam, and next year we'll have more teams, and we'll have a lot more fun, a lot more talent spread out through the league. But thank you for joining that. Thank you, Fawn, as always, for helping me out, and we're out of here.